welcome back to the Music Bar Podcast. It's great to be back, Chris.
It is good to be back. It's been a week, and it's been a fun week. It has been.
It has been. First episode done now.
Done.
And you
Live.
can say, right, it's gone, it's done. And thanks to everybody who's listened.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who's made comments and subscribed. Also followed our Facebook pages and Instagram pages. So, yeah, keep doing that. It's been really good reception so far for us.
That's good. And
positive, which has been great.
If you like hearing two old bald blokes talk about music, then
this is the place to come to.
Yeah, this is the place to come to. Hear two old blokes go, get off my lawn.
One more thing quickly is a shout out to Chaos Studios. This is where we are.
Studios where we are.
Our mate Kevin has let us use this place. It's down in Currumbin, so if you ever need a place to record, give Chaos a follow, have a chat. It's a really good little studio recording.
Now, for those of you nowhere near the Gold Coast and listening to this, well, Currumbin's in the Gold Coast, and if you're overseas,
Australia, Brisbane, Queensland, but yeah, it's for those locals.
Just look at the map and look at this far away from each other, if you know what I mean. That's nothing, you know. So
but thanks, Kevin, for that, and all those people who subscribed and followed us. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it for our first podcast last week, and a lot more to go.
Oh, we hope so, because there's always something to talk about, isn't there?
Always something to talk about.
Always something to talk about. Now, last week we started talking about you giving Lars Ulrich your money.
Always.
Which
I'll never stop doing.
You will never stop doing. I suppose I've given Gene Simmons enough of my money.
I think you have.
I think we all have. I think I've also given the Young Brothers some of my money too. I think that's all part of the game, is giving them your money.
Yep.
And of course, Metallica are releasing this big box set of the Black Album coming out.
30 years.
It's not coming out in 30 years. It came out 30 years ago.
Yeah, it came out. Anniversary.
But actually, the anniversary is now. It's
91 it came out.
August 91. And this box set is massive. Is that right? You've seen an unboxing of it, Chris?
I have seen an unboxing of it. Jason Newsted was actually the one who...
They let him look at it.
They gave him a copy.
They actually gave him a copy.
Jason Newsted, for those who don't know, is the bass player from Metallica who was there when they recorded that album. He's now gone on, left the band, and a new guy's come in. But I've actually...
the new guy who's been there longer than Jason Newsted was...
Since 2003.
Roberto Trujillo.
That's only two of his names.
I know.
He's got like 10.
I don't want to be... I remember seeing him when he was bass player for Suicidal Tendencies. And I remember Psycho Mike Muir, the lead singer of the Suicidal, he was introducing the band, and because at that time Rob Trujillo was like this, everyone was talking about this bass player, this amazing bass player, and he said, people call him Robert Trujillo. Tell him your real name, Robert. And Robert came up there and he said, Roberto Romano. And
he went on and on
with all his 10 Spanish names.
Yeah, exactly right.
I always remember that.
I'm glad on the Metallica songs where he writes, they don't put his name in there with all the rest of them.
You mean they let him write songs?
Well, I think they did.
They didn't let a Jason write songs?
Well, he did write one.
What?
He wrote the riff for Blackened.
Did he get credited for it?
Blackened, yeah.
Blackened, your battery was on master. Did he really?
Yeah. And he wrote Misery, My Friend of Misery.
Which is on the Black Album.
Yeah.
Which is
what we're talking about.
Which is technically a self-titled album.
Yes.
Much like the Beatles' White Album is technically the Beatles. It's a self-titled album.
Yep.
But Metallica still called... And then they've got the Blacklist, which is a whole bunch of bands doing covers.
Covers of their songs.
Of their songs. And so what is on this record, Chris? How many discs? And
I don't own it yet.
No, but you've seen the unboxing.
But I've seen the unboxing. They've got a lot of demos. They've got a lot of songs from the Black Album, which were the start to finish kind of like demos, riffs that didn't make it, riffs that did, riffs that turned into something different. A lot of live concerts. The actual Black Album on 180G recorded now on vinyl.
I've heard some of the live recordings, and they're not concerts technically. They seem to be a straight-to-desk live recording.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Some of them don't sound good.
Oh, really?
Oh, I heard one. I can't remember what it was. And I was, come on. But obviously this is for Metallica completists.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And these anniversary things are just people who got the money to spend on something that's going to be just held. Some people don't even open them when they do.
No, they don't. No,
They steal them and just put them on the shelf and keep them that way. The Master of Puppets one that came out in '86, I've seen that going for, like, I bought it a while back, and I've seen them going for over $1,500.
Now this one's going to cost, for an Australian,
About just under $500.
just under $500. So in America, that's probably about $350.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to get one, obviously.
Yeah. I'm not getting it like I normally would. I used to pre-order them from the States.
Yeah.
But it was $100 or more for postage. So
What?
It's a big, heavy unit.
I know, it's a big, heavy box.
It is
I
a
saw
big,
the because this reminded me of the Stooges.
Right.
They released the box set of Funhouse last year, and it's like that. It's this massive, thick box set. It's just full of 180-gram vinyls, and it's like what you said, the demos right through to the recording, live versions, 7-inch versions, plus booklets and all sorts of stuff. And if you're fans of these bands, these are like
Gold. Or crypto.
A bit like that.
But yeah, no.
Are they an investment?
I personally believe they are. And that's why a lot of Metallica fans from the Legacy Club that I'm part of buy them and don't open them. But I'm also one, I will open it. I will play it.
Oh, see,
I will read through the new book with all the new photos they've released and all that kind of thing. So I'm not that kind of like person who will just leave it sealed and hope one day that it goes up in money, because I'm not doing it for that. I've already given them money. I don't want to make money off it. I just want to listen to it. And
that would be something I would open.
Yeah, exactly right.
That would be something that I would, like, I have to rifle through and pick it up and smell it, because it would have a smell.
Oh, absolutely. Just like a brand new car.
Oh yeah, you know when you just, and that, because it'd be like have the suction on it, and you go, oh, there it comes, it's off. You know, those boxes do. They do the slide, and you think, oh God, please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. You know.
Yep. Absolutely.
And probably as heavy as anything.
It is. That's why it's over $100 from the States for postage. So I thought I'd just wait till they arrive in the store here or pre-order it through JB Hi-Fi down the track. But
not that you want to give them a plug in anyway, because they are not sponsoring the show.
No.
Yet.
I can.
They can if they like. But not now.
It's a good album. It changed the course of history of music, I think.
I've got to admit, when I first heard it, I didn't like it that much.
The Metallica Black Album? Really?
It took me a long time to really like it, and I've got to admit, it still wasn't high on my list of albums, but the other day when we were talking about it, I put it on again.
Okay.
And I was doing work around the house listening to the Black Album, and I'm late to the party, clearly, but I was really enjoying it. I thought, wonderfully recorded record.
Yeah, definitely.
The guitars are so heavy, and I'm going to refer to what made me, and we talk about this, apart from the thing coming out. It's been out for 30 years. There's a period of time in 1991 when the most amazing run of records came out in 2 months.
Yeah.
That, we'll go through it. Not today, I suppose, but what Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden has recently come out and said that the Black Album, he looks back on the Black Album as something that changed heavy metal and music in that regard, because he felt Metallica did something that none of the others were game to do. Because you got around this time, you don't have to be a Maiden fan, but this is around the time that Bruce Dickinson left Iron Maiden, was leaving Iron Maiden
for a solo album,
for a solo career and whatever. And you're also looking, there's an upheaval going on, because Metallica have gone from this long song thrash metal band to coming out with an album that's slower, heavier,
simple.
The
songs were really simple. And I remember in interviews with James Hetfield, he was saying they wanted to do songs that were just simplistic compared to what they did on Justice, the album beforehand, which had 10-minute songs with every riff they wrote. They would put into a song. So you'd have 15 to 30 riffs in a song. And to follow it is just like, what the hell is going on here? But they made great songs, but they wanted to get away from that. And I think you were saying earlier, they realised when they were playing one of their songs called Justice for All live, they were watching the crowd and they were getting like, what was the word? Just bored?
Bored. He said the crowd had started, they looked out and here they are, they're playing their guts out on this song.
Yeah.
which goes for 9 minutes and 48 seconds.
Yeah.
And they looked out at the crowd, and you could see they were losing them.
Yeah.
They were getting disinterested. And when they walked off, they said, we're never
again.
playing that song again. They do now, though.
Yeah.
Because they like to go back into the back catalogue.
Yeah.
But they walked off and said, we're never playing that song ever again.
And that's the difference between the Justice for All album in 88 and the 91 album Black is the songs were just simple.
Yeah, they were.
They had really good hooks.
Yep. Real concise.
Very well produced. The production level was amazing. Bob Rock did all that, obviously.
He also challenged James Hetfield on his lyrics.
And his singing, and the drums.
And the drums.
And the guitar playing, and the solos.
I think that's something Bruce Dickinson mentioned too in his little article, was that it was such a producer's record. They really had to let the producers sit in there and go, right, if this is what you want, then this is what you've got to do.
Yeah.
And they fought him every step of the way.
I was watching an article the other day with a YouTube video with Bob Rock, and he was saying, it was on classic albums, and he was saying that the first 3 or 4 months, because they recorded the Black Album over 9 months, I think it was.
Yeah, it took them a long time.
It took them a long time. And Metallica had never been challenged in any of their albums ever.
Oh no, they just went. You
They
could
just
tell
did what they wanted to do.
Yeah, they went in the studio
and
and
no one ever told
record.
them. No one ever told them what to do. They just, if they did, they just got hammered. So having Bob Rock come in, who has a really good history of what he's produced in the past with other bands, come in and tell them what to do. It took them about 3 months or so for them to start waking up to the fact that Bob knew what he was talking about, and it wasn't like he wasn't having a go at them. He was trying to help them create this album that became what we all know as a Black Album and how good it was.
There's that little bit from the doco, the back of the film footage where like James is saying to Bob, "You write the lyrics," because even Enter Sandman was something complicated, a real complicated lyrical idea from James, and Bob said, "No, just keep it simple. Keep this
simple.
Keep it simple." Bob had worked previously on the Motley Crue album Dr. Feelgood, which sounded a big mighty record, and that was another one where not that Motley Crue did long songs. Nicky was writing hooky, poppy songs, but Bob gave it this big sound.
Yeah.
And the one before that he did was the Cult, Sonic Temple.
Right, okay.
Who were pretty great. Yeah. Previously he'd worked as an engineer on the Bon Jovi records.
Yeah.
Slippery When Wet.
Did he produce those as well?
No, Bruce Fairbairn produced them. But he worked very closely and he engineered the record. So the engineer is literally sitting beside the producer. But, I think Cult was his first crack at producing an album. And it sounded great. Sonic Temple sounded great and broke the Cult in America. And so they think Motley Crue heard that. We want Bob Rock to produce Dr. Feelgood. They had to all get fit and clean and sober. Metallica probably weren't as... They had their problems, but not as bad as Motley Crue were.
Definitely not.
They didn't have band members dying, coming back to life, and then trying to kill themselves again. James's was a slow, gradual process. His one. And I hope James is doing well.
As far as I know, he is, from what I can see on his videos.
Because just before they cancelled the Australian tour, but
didn't look well.
Didn't look great. I remember watching the footage from the shows in Europe and thinking, I don't know if I'm really going to enjoy this show. Something doesn't feel right about this tour or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I hope, and you could tell that when I heard he had to go back into rehab, I thought, well, there you go.
Yeah,
that's
why.
the thing. But back onto it, I think one of the things I heard is AC/DC, which seems to be the model for the heavy rock sound, but concise, sharp, keep it down to 3.5, 4 minutes. Metallica, when we say sharp in the shorter songs, what I did like about listening back to the Black Album was the songs, especially the Unforgiven, there still was this whole idea that James has this, or they have this thing they like to write an epic song.
Yeah.
It has to have a
bit of a ballady feel.
A bit of a feel, like a film. It has to have, like people call it a widescreen film. And there was very much this Ennio Morricone sound from those spaghetti westerns, Once Upon a Time in the West, The Good, the Bad. And of course they open their shows now with The Ecstasy of Gold.
Yeah, they've done it for years.
Decades. Yeah, they've done that for decades now.
Yep.
and it suits the
Perfect.
whole. But listening back to that, I could really hear that epic. That you hear those Morricone soundtracks,
Yep.
and you're just like those guitars are just going in those, and you could hear that was what they were listening to, and it was feeding them. But AC/DC, the short, sharp songs, and like a song like Holier Than Thou, which is a song I never ever considered. I listened back to it and thought, this is a really kicking song.
Yep. One of my favourites of the album is still Sad But True.
Oh,
It's so
heavy.
Yeah.
And James singing, it's so different from this.
And it's so slow.
Yes.
Which is so different to everything they did beforehand. It's I guess, like you said before, Bruce Dickinson said, no band would go and do that kind of thing. A lot of the bands were taking, like, where do you go now with metal? And Metallica, like Bruce said, took it to another level, which no other band would have the courage to do.
They basically took it back to that basic Black Sabbath sound.
Yeah.
That slow, heavy riffing. Whereas... Chugging along, yep. And the crowd singing along.
Yep.
That's what, you can go to a Metallica show and everybody sits there and does all the riffs with their hands. Air guitars, air drums. Dude, it's one of those bands. You see the crowd, air drumming, air guitaring all through singing along, singing all the... They do all that stuff.
Always.
At a Metallica show. And this was the one where... And I think bands always say that when they, when you're reaching a larger audience when you see women in the crowd.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what all these producers look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of Bob Ezrin when he was producing Kiss's Destroyer. Mm-hmm. He said he went and saw Kiss live before that. And he said it was a great time. Big explosions. The band was killer on stage. But he said the crowd was just 15-year-old boys. And he said to them, you've got to get the women coming to your shows.
Yeah.
So you've got to write pop songs almost. You've got to give them a hook. You've got to, something that they can sing along. If they can sing along to it, and you say, hey, Kiss are coming, they'll go, hey, yeah, I like that song I hear on the radio.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you like Cold Jet or the heavy stuff? It's like with Metallica. The boyfriend says, Metallica are coming to town. And she says, nothing else matters. I love that song.
Yeah.
And he goes, great. Master of Puppets, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I love those songs.
Yeah.
He stands and has a great time. She stands and goes, when are they going to play Nothing Else Matters?
Yeah.
And they finally do. It's the relationship heel at the end.
Yeah. It's the best concert ever.
The best concert ever.
That's true. It's funny.
And there's other songs too. It's like, oh, I heard that on the radio. So I can listen to that. I heard that on the radio. And believe me, radio programmers are always after the female audience. Hardest audience to crack. Blokes, you play rock and roll, blokes, you've got them.
Yeah.
You got no problems there. Blokes, you got them. But with the women, it's
it's half the audience.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you need. You
need half the audience.
Why get rid of half the population?
Yeah.
So bring them on in.
Yeah, bring the ladies to the shows.
And the Black Album did that.
Yeah.
It just a whole new generation, like Metallica, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And eventually, they don't know the original 4 albums, but they go and listen to them, and they might like 2 or songs off songs off one of the albums, but the ballads they might like from those albums.
Well, here's something for you. Having worked at a record store, the 2 bands with the biggest back catalogue sales are AC/DC and Metallica.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
Oh, I'm going to. No. Come back next week. No. They never released a greatest hits album.
That makes sense.
Malcolm Young always said with AC/DC that he would never release a greatest hits album while he was alive. Right. Now that he's gone, I hope...
Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen? Because they've become a bit like Kiss and put AC/DC on everything.
But they just recorded a new album recently.
Yeah, I know. And it was pretty good. It's a pretty damn good record. But the whole idea was, because Malcolm knew that once you release that greatest hits record, your back catalogue sales just drop off. And Metallica never released a greatest hits album too. And I always noticed in the shelves, you're always fully stocked of AC/DC and Metallica.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I never thought of that before, actually.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
because Van Halen did the same thing. They released the greatest hits, and it was very hard to find their albums after that.
Yes.
Because they just had that one there, and it was like the pick of the bunch.
Yeah.
Why go buy all the other albums for a few songs you like when you can buy them on one? That's very clever.
Yeah, yeah. Once the greatest hits album comes out, it really does. Because sometimes the greatest hits album can be your best seller.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah, which is sad, but it's true with I think Bob Marley's greatest hits album, Legend, that came out a long time ago. That's like sold tens of millions of copies.
More than the rest of them put together, probably.
All of them, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because it's got all of it there, and because he died in 1981, it's like, this is the album. It's got all the stuff. So if you want to get those Metallica songs that you've got to go and dig through it, well, now with the streaming services, you can just go grab them. So for bands like Metallica, that works.
That's true.
Led Zeppelin never released the greatest hits in their lifetime.
Oh, okay.
But mind you, they did, and people still buy the back catalogues because those albums are so damn good.
Yeah.
They're so damn good. But that's what keeps Metallica going there in that regard.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Never thought of that before. Ever. That's good, though. Another thing about what Bruce was saying was you got someone like Slayer, who, in those interviews back then when the album came out, you had Slayer, you had Megadeth, you had Anthrax. And a lot of those interviews from those guys about the Black Album were saying they sold out.
Yeah.
And even a lot of fans back then, who were thrash fans, were saying this album's been Metallica is sold out.
I got to admit, I probably was in that, because I got into Metallica from reading all the guitar mags, and I liked the thrash when I heard it.
It
was different. When I bought Injustice for All and I played it, I went, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
But wow, I like it. And then when I heard that, I said, well, that's totally different. But by then I'd bought Master of Puppets, then I'd bought Ride the Lightning, And so then I thought, let's not Master of Puppets.
No.
And I really dug that record.
It was a complete right turn, eh?
Oh, totally.
But I think they needed to do it for themselves and to keep Metallica going. Because they toured on this album
for
over 3
years.
They did over 300 shows or something.
Yeah,
and they toured
never
for 3
stopped.
years. And during that time, 3 members got divorced.
I was going to say, didn't Lars get married and divorced during that tour?
They all got divorced at least once in that time, except for James. So 3 of them, they were away for a long time, touring for a long time, but spreading the word, I guess you could say, around the world. Because did you know, fun fact, they're the only band in the whole world who's ever played on every continent.
Used to have. They played Antarctica.
They played Antarctica.
That's right.
And they had to play in...
Good show, that one, too.
It was.
That was a good show, cracking show.
And the only thing they were worried about when they went down there was they couldn't play with speakers because they were worried about the ice cracking.
Yes.
So they all had headphones in, and all the crowd that were there, which were people who worked in Antarctica already, there was only maybe about 30 or 40,
they
all had headphones on as well. So they played a live concert to these people, which was recorded. And the people who were there, including the band, all listened to the whole thing with headphones because they didn't want any ice to crack. So, only band ever to record on every continent of Earth. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible. But, I mean, that album is the biggest selling heavy metal album of all time, still.
Yep.
They became the biggest metal band of all time.
Yep.
When you consider there's Black Sabbath, it would never sold records in that category. When you're talking, you've sold over 15 million records in America. That's massive. That's huge.
Yep.
You are the biggest band in the world. And as you said, they toured that thing for 3 years. I think
3 years,
the tour didn't come to Australia until 1990.
It was either 2 or 3. I went to it.
3 or 4, I thought.
Not sure.
I'm not sure. It was not like 93 it came to Australia.
Yeah, I went and saw it in Melbourne. With the Snake Pit, which was a new
That's right, that was a new thing, the Snake Pit.
That was a new thing, the Snake Pit, where you have the stage go around a little pit of people that earn tickets.
Yep.
so they're actually in the middle of the stage the
Yeah.
whole time, which is a pretty cool idea. But yeah, that was tremendous content, amazing. And they were pretty much on a high at the time. They could not do anything wrong.
No.
They played so well. Every song was just perfect.
Yeah.
They knew how to bring an audience in, you know.
I'll give them, despite all their problems and everything like that, which they have had in the past and during their time together, as the very famous documentary, Some Kind of Monster,
Oh, yeah.
which I loved.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen, though, the making of Year and a Half?
Yes.
Because Year and a Half was incredible to watch.
Oh, it was incredible to watch.
That's the making, for those who don't know, that's the making of the Black Album. They recorded 2
And the tour.
videos. And
2 tours.
The beginning of the tour.
Yeah, beginning of the
including
tour.
the Guns N' Roses tour. Because they toured with Guns N' Roses for a while.
Yep.
Because they brought out the Use Your Illusion albums at the same time.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe when you look at it now that Guns N' Roses were the big thing at the time.
Yeah.
And as I started alluding to before, Metallica was going on with this. It was a real change happening.
Yeah.
Not that Metallica were at the forefront of it, but there was a change happening coming out of music. And it wasn't like, it wasn't completely out of Seattle.
No, definitely not.
It wasn't, no. It was happening right in Los Angeles and California where a lot of these changes were happening. It was bands like Jane's Addiction and Faith No More that those bands were liking. I remember I got into Faith No More around 1990, but it was all the recommendations. Slash loved them.
Yeah.
James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett loved them.
Yeah.
Jane's Addiction was the band that they were all going to see and going, wow, these guys are great. And then Red Hot Chili Peppers, which we'll have to go into it.
If you want to.
No, I don't.
Not a fan, are you?
No.
I'll
go with Nick Cave's comment.
All right.
And I'm probably going to say it many times. When Nick Cave has said, whenever I say, what's that shit playing on the radio, 90% of the time, it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
To add to that, my favourite song.
Go.
My favourite song of the Chili Peppers is Higher Ground.
Of course it is, because it's my favourite song of theirs too.
And when I look back at when I was trying to find out who wrote it out of the band, I found out it wasn't none of those guys. It was Stevie Wonder.
Did you know that?
I didn't when I first heard it.
Oh, I did. I knew it was a Stevie Wonder, but that was my first thing I heard of them. And I went, oh, these guys are cool.
Exactly the same. I thought this is a great song. It had everything about it was brilliant. And then when I find out later on they didn't write it, that was a cover. I'm like, oh, there you go.
I thought it was a rocking song. And then, because I remember Motley Crue were right into the Chili Peppers. All those bands liked these guys. They didn't sort of look at these guys and say, oh, we don't like these guys. They were looking at these guys and saying, these guys are cool.
Yeah, I know.
They're doing something a bit different, and they're keeping it alive, and,
Well, yeah, it was a bit funky, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very funky, yeah.
And I think the only other band around that time that was kind of doing the same kind of thing was a band called Living Colour.
They were a good band.
And they were astonishing.
Yeah.
They were astonishing guys who could play their instruments so well, and their singer was amazing.
Corey Glover was the singer. Vernon Reid, the guitarist, whose birthday was not just the other day. So,
was it?
Yeah. And okay, Chris and I, I'm going to just sort of preempt this. Chris and I right into musicians and music and stuff like that. So when I say they had a bass player as good as Muzz Skillings in Living Colour, who left them to go and play for Michael Jackson.
Right.
And Michael Jackson did not have slouches in his band. And they replaced him with Doug Wimbish, who himself was one of the best bass players rolling around Los Angeles.
Wow.
So that's how good Living Colour.
Yeah, Living Colour. Vernon Reid was a master of guitar player.
Astonishing.
Absolutely amazing. I'm not a drummer in any sense of the word, but I do know from people who I know
Will Calhoun, the drummer,
that he was a great drummer too.
Yes, he was
I can't
too.
say that for
I can't remember. He went on to play, because I think Living Colour had a bit of a hiatus, and he went on to play for somebody else. I mean, when you can go and play for one of the big acts as a side person,
a backup.
as a backup or something like that, you're pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But so there's this change happening, and Metallica just kind of ran their own path, so to speak, and it worked.
It did work, and they kind of have always said they don't listen to people, and they do what they think is right by gut instinct and gut feeling. So what they did worked. They got bagged out by a lot of people, fellow friends, like the guys from Slayer and Anthrax. They were all friends for a long time, always kind of competing against each other, kind of like,
Oh, of course, yeah.
the way they did it back then. But in the end, they kind of like proved themselves right. They did the right thing by changing. We won't go today into what came after the Black Album.
No. Because that's not what we're talking about.
That's a different story anyway.
That's a totally different story.
But the Black Album changed music in that sense with the metal scene and brought a massive big crowd into it that would have listened to it otherwise.
That's right. A crowd that never would have heard heavy metal to begin with.
No, absolutely not. That's why you see people now, celebrities, wearing Metallica shirts. They probably don't know anything.
Hey, what are you wearing at the moment, Chris?
The new Metallica shirt.
The new Metallica shirt?
Well, it's old now. It was from last year. It was from the drive-in series.
You better bloody change that quickly, hey? Is this these drive-in movies?
It's the drive-in concert.
This has become a thing in America now.
Yeah,
these
they did this last
concerts.
year. They went and recorded a bunch of... they recorded a concert.
Yeah.
And released it in the drive-ins.
Yeah, and then Bon Jovi have just done one too in America.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, it's just become a bit of a... Probably Metallica did it first, though.
I'm not sure. I don't think they did, actually. I think someone else did it.
Yeah, it's become you go to the drive-in and see the show. You can play it as loud as you want.
Well, you couldn't go anywhere else because of COVID was shut down America, so that's why they did this. And yeah, I went and got a T-shirt for it.
Oh, good.
I didn't go to the.
I don't even think I saw it even at the cinemas. There's the drive-in.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Are they going to release it in any other? Because I think the Bon Jovi one got released in the cinemas here in Australia because a mate of mine went and saw it.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't know.
His wife's a huge Bon Jovi fan.
They did play something here in the cinemas. I didn't go to it, but I can't remember what it was. If it was this or not, I can't remember.
I don't think it was that, because I would have probably gone to see that as well.
Yeah.
So I went and saw Roger Waters' Us and Them at the cinemas. I didn't go to the show for that, and I went and saw that at the cinemas. And it blew me away. And it wasn't even the show, it was just the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it blew me away.
Was that the last show he came up and did?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
That was
I
amazing.
went to the one before that, The Wall, because The Wall is my favourite thing of all time.
From Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
Or overall?
Just overall.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in another show.
Yeah.
I'll talk about your favourite album or something like that. Because I'm sure, as I said, we're not going to go in. There's modern stuff because, well, there's a lot going on at the moment and trying to go through it. All I can say for modern stuff is I've just listened to the new She Had album because I've got to review it.
Okay.
I write for wallofsoundau.com. My friend Brownie, it's a website he runs. It's a heavy music website. He says, killer content our way. I write for them. I do reviews. And shout out to Brownie for giving me the go. And he does his own podcast too. So if you listen to this and you like it, have a go. Because Brownie gets some good interviews and everything like that. So yeah, good on you, Brownie. Give us a bit of a plug too, mate.
So you're writing a review for the She Had album?
The new She Had album, Mold Gods, it's called.
Right. I've never really got into She Had, but I know you
love them. I love them. One of the best, probably my favourite New Zealand band of all time. But
Okay.
yeah. We'll talk about that probably in the next time because the album I think has now been delayed because of COVID in New Zealand.
Right.
I saw an announcement this morning on Facebook. John Toogood has said that they've had to delay. They've delayed it by a month. I think it was supposed to come out this week,
right,
which is late August, and it's going to be put back a month.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of Facebook and Metallica, did you see that this morning? About Metallica have now also released the Chris Cornell tribute songs that they did for the Chris Cornell tribute concert.
I read that this morning, and then you sent me the link, and I'd already seen that. But yes, I haven't heard them yet.
No, I haven't heard them either.
But the artwork was pretty cool.
Oh, the artwork was great.
And Jeff, the bass player from Pearl Jam, actually created that artwork.
Yeah, Jeff Ament.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It is really cool. And Chris Cornell, for those who don't know, was the lead singer of Soundgarden and Audio Slave. And then he passed away a few years back.
Yep.
Sadly. One of the best voices you'll ever hear in rock is Chris Cornell.
Oh, yeah.
He was just amazing.
I was really disappointed earlier this year. Last year when his version of Guns N' Roses' Patience was released posthumously.
Yeah.
And I hated it purely because I felt it's someone rifling through the back. What can we release of Chris Cornell?
Yeah.
And I felt it was a guide vocal and nothing more. It wasn't. It lacked any punch. It lacked anything. Because I've heard him do covers. And his covers of I Will Always Love You, Nothing Compares to You, and Billie Jean are astonishingly good.
Yeah, nothing compares to you was amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. All those three songs, and then to hear his almost sleepwalk through Guns N' Roses' Patience.
Yeah.
He lacked, I was saying, because at the time I was working in commercial radio, I was just saying to everybody, that's a guide vocal.
Mm. Yeah.
Why is this anything? This is a guide vocal. Someone's just released this to say, oh, let's get some unreleased Chris Cornell out there. And I was, maybe it's for the family, and I understand money and stuff like that, but...
Yeah, pretty too soon with that release.
It just lacked polish, you know. You sometimes think, would these artists have released if they were alive? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't speak for Chris, but I know it's just as a listener, I don't think I could.
No.
Yeah.
On that note too, it's funny, obviously Eddie Van Halen passed away last year. And I was hoping, like, you think straight away, well, I know how much music there is in that background of his studio, but they're not going to release it straight away. But I think, because now all the fans of Van Halen have gone off and listened to Wolfgang, which is Eddie's son. He's released his own album. He's touring America with Guns N' Roses right now.
That's right, he's opening for Guns N' Roses, yeah.
Gunners. He's got a brand new band called Mammoth WVH. And it's taken away the fans' idea of getting new music from Van Halen, so it's not going to happen for quite a long time.
Did Wolfgang say though that
they will do it?
He did say they will do it. I wasn't sure if I thought he said it's not going to happen.
No, they will go through everything. He has to do it with his uncle Alex, who was obviously the drummer of Van Halen.
Yeah,
they'll go through all the recorded bits and pieces that Eddie has in the studio, but not yet, and we don't know when. But now, because of Van Halen, because of Wolfgang playing, all the fans of Van Halen are drawn to his music instead, and not worried about hearing songs that were unfinished or getting all the B-sides from the Van Halen era.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
has been a really good thing, I think, because it makes Van Halen, when they do decide to do that and come out with these demos and songs from the past, it's going to be a lot more wanted, I guess.
Look, I think if they do release a Van Halen thing, because it'll just be riffs and licks and that's all it'll be. It'd probably be like years ago, 9 Inch Nails released the 4 albums called Ghosts all at once, and it's just little instrumental pieces.
Okay.
And that's what I reckon these will be, just little instrumental pieces that you'll just either play it. There won't be any songs.
Well, Sammy Hagar came out yesterday, who was the second singer of Van Halen, and he said that he knows for a fact there is a lot of music from his era, from 86 onwards until I think 93 or so, sitting there ready to go. Songs that didn't make the original albums. All you need to do is pretty much record it with the vocals.
I wasn't going to talk about this, but while we're here, we may as well do it. So the last actual Van Halen studio album that came out was in 2012, A Different Kind of Truth.
Yeah.
Yep, right. So what was the one before that one?
3. With Gary Sharon.
98. Came out in 98, right?
With Gary Sharon.
14 years between bands. Years ago, if it was 14 years between bands' releases, they would have just disappeared.
Disappeared, yeah.
You would never have heard of them again.
But they had, because Sammy left, Gary Sharon, who was the lead singer of Extreme.
Yep.
He came on to Van Halen and sang and recorded one album. Then that didn't do very well.
No, it flopped big time.
It flopped. And then they had the big break and came back again with David Lee Roth.
They'd done a couple of tours in that time. They had, they toured a bit.
In 07 was the first one.
Yep.
With Wolfgang.
That's right.
Home base. But
Wolfgang was only 15 or something like that. Yeah, no, he was. Yeah.
And now he has his own album. He plays every song on it.
Yeah, I know.
He recorded everything. He sang everything. He played every instrument.
Fine voice. He played every instrument. Yeah, he's talented.
Talented.
So, what I was going to say though was I just remember hearing a story how apparently the 5150 studio, because they reckon that's where Eddie was just holed up in the studio in that time. People would actually come up, and some people would like, we need a new Van Halen record.
Well, you can't actually get to the studio from the road.
No, but it's the cameras or something like that. They would stand there or something like that outside the security gates or something.
I didn't see any cameras at the front.
Oh, Chris!
Chris
is a bit of a name dropper. He's been holding back.
I haven't met him. but I've driven past the house.
Oh, you did?
I know where the driveway
You
is.
took the pilgrimage, didn't you?
And I just wanted to go and see if I could.
Oh, yeah,
You
so
can't.
you could.
It's just trees and a gate.
Is there a security camera?
I didn't see any security
I'm
cameras.
sure
I
there's
would have held a sign up saying, please come and give me an autograph.
Hey, and then he would have sat there and gone, there's some tall guy down here. He's not good looking at all. Nah.
Yeah, no. I've been in the front gate and there's nothing. You wouldn't ever expect it to be the studio behind that, which is a pretty long driveway from what I've read.
I've seen the photos at the studio. It's a goddamn mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I thought it'd be a lot tidier and a lot neater, but no, it's
It's a mess.
It's a mess. There's cables everywhere and guitars everywhere,
Yeah.
and
I've seen photos of his workbench where he builds all the guitars and pulls them apart, and that's a mess. But it's his
that was his
place of work and love of music and guitar, and it's worked for him since 86, 85.
What about this studio here? Maybe we should mess this place up.
Where do we start?
There's a big speaker. I'm going to push this thing over,
Yeah.
and then I'm trying to keep everything minimal. You know?
Yeah, no, minimal.
No, I did. I saw the photos and I just went, "Oh my god!"
I know.
How does someone work in that? But what goes into a recording studio? Like we're in a recording studio here, and it's very, very basic. But I know in the actual producer's booth over there,
Yeah, it's full on.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's full on. It works.
In here is fine, but yeah, over there is a bit of a mess.
Yeah. Are you going to buy the Chris Cornell tribute?
I'll have to listen to it first.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Metallica have done 2 songs from the first Ultra Mega OK album.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do any of the known songs.
No.
They did from the first album.
Yep.
Which was look, you know, if you like Soundgarden, that first album is pretty much the blueprint of the Soundgarden sound.
Yep.
Chris's big vocals, Kim Thile's
Guitar
guitar playing and all that sort of stuff. That's that one there.
Who else is on there? Do you know? Doing tribute?
I don't know.
No?
I have to have a look. I only just saw the Metallica one and the artwork that Jeff Amenta's done.
Yeah.
So go check it out. Go check it out. It looks good. I'm sure next time we come back, we will have heard something and we'll comment on it because that's what. Because honestly, we're starting just at the tip of the mountain here. We are literally starting at the tip of the mountain. We've got to burrow deep and get in, and we try to get as deep as we can. But you know, there's a lot to go through here, Chris.
There is, absolutely.
We're literally unfolding our own music collections out here, out of our brains, for everyone to sort of listen to and hopefully enjoy. So hopefully you enjoy this one. It's time to wrap it up now, Chris.
No problems at all. Thank you, everyone, again. And go and subscribe and like and.
So where we go? Go on, Chris. Tell us all. You're the one who's doing all the socials, and I love that.
Tell us socials, Facebook, obviously, YouTube. Go subscribe and have a watch on there.
The Music Bar
Instagram,
podcast. Yeah, thank you. You got to tell them the name. Keep going. Come on.
If they're watching us, they should know that. Instagram, obviously, and we're getting a Twitter account.
Yeah, we're getting a Twitter account, so we'll be able to tell you when the shows are live and everything like that.
But yeah, stay posted to Facebook and Instagram. You'll see when the new one comes up on there and links to it so you can watch the show.
Wouldn't it be good if we got merch?
Oh, that'd be nice.
Oh,
that would be nice. Let's go do GoFundMe.
We might do that. Our faces on a T-shirt. I saw
the back of our heads.
I saw a guy with I was working at Movie World. I do sometimes work as a performer, and I saw this guy with a T-shirt, and I went, "Is that you on the T-shirt?" He was a big fat bloke with a beard, and there was a big fat bloke with a beard. A drawing though, not a photo. It was like an artist rendition. And I said, "Is that you?" And he went, "Yeah." I said, "You've got yourself on it." He said, "Yeah." I said, "What's the point?" He said, "I've got a podcast.
Oh, there you go.
It's my merch." And I went, "There you go."
Fair enough.
The guy who has himself on the T-shirt, one day, Chris.
One day.
You'll be not be wearing your Metallica shirt. You'll be wearing a Music Bar podcast.
Yep.
And then we're going to fight over who gets first billing, Chris or Dan.
Ooh.
Oh.
Arm wrestle.
Anyway. We can go alphabetical order. Or seniority or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks everyone.
Take care. See you later.
See ya.